Okay, tell me more about yourself.
I would. So I'm Ashley and I'm 19 this year. And how my friends would describe me is someone that like a lot of them call me mom. I
Oh.
think you can tell. Like even the M1s, they call me mom, which is kind of funny because I'm like one of the youngest.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think it's like they call me mom. Hopefully not because I'm naggy, but because of like I just my capacity to like like natural instinct to look out for other people and I guess to shower them with my love and affection.
Nice.
Yeah, and I would say I'm a person that's pretty extroverted and outgoing, and I like to spend a lot of time with like my friends and family and do like things with them, such as like I like to spin with my friends or like go cafe hopping and whatnot.
Okay, thanks for sharing. Okay, maybe you can tell us a bit more about your commitments in school and outside of school.
So outside of school, I do karate competitively, and I also like for weekly commitment. I also have like church. For in school, I mean other than studies, that's like I think about it.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Do you like apply for any other CIPs or OSIPs?
I am volunteering for NHS Kids, and I'm also trying to apply for like we like the women
Project
empowerment.
Women.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Project what we?
We.
Oh, Project
Okay, okay. Can. Okay, so now about I Remember. Why do you choose to join I Remember?
So I chose like I Remember because I really do love interacting with seniors. I have like done a lot of previous volunteering projects where I interacted with seniors, and I find it very meaningful. And especially for like project I Remember, I feel that it touches on like geriatric depression and dementia, which is something that I feel is it's a very pertinent issue in Singapore, but it's not addressed well enough. And in one of like my previous volunteering experience, I volunteered with like an auntie at Tai Hwa Kwan Nursing Home in the dementia ward, and I realized that actually dementia patients, a lot of them do not get the sufficient support, and I feel that I particularly do want to. I feel that I can do more to contribute to that area, which is why I want to help. Why I want to join the EXCO of I Remember and help serve in this area. Yeah.
Okay, can. Okay, so I saw from your write up that you led 2 VIA projects, right? Can you share a bit more about these projects?
So the first one's like called Project Golden Years, and I started it with my friends. So for Project Golden Years, it's basically aimed to raise awareness about palliative care, especially to seniors at rental blocks. Because I feel palliative care was an area that me and my friends thought were like not many people knew about it. Even hospice care, which is like a bigger branch of palliative care, not many people do know about it. But it's extremely important in the sense that it helps to ensure you have a good quality of life and that your wishes are respected, especially, for example, if you do go into like cognitive decline. So that's why me and my friend decided to, raise awareness about it, and we worked with Singapore Hospice to go down to Methodist Welfare Association to spend some time with the seniors, and we also played games, had skits, and yeah, it was really lovely working with the seniors.
Okay. Maybe you can share like a time where you had to deal with conflict when you were leading the project.
So one conflict that sort of arose was actually I wouldn't say really it's a conflict, but so this is like we had one dementia patient who I think her cognitive ability was quite declined, and she didn't really have a filter. So especially for the befrienders, I think they were not really ready to they didn't really expect that, because I remember the very first day we met her, she kind of shouted at the befriender, and she was like, "Why are you asking me so many questions? It's very annoying." Yeah, and I think like the volunteers were a bit like taken aback, and they didn't expect it. But I think we really had to emphasize that, especially some of these seniors, they are in a nursing home, and some of their cognitive ability and their social filters are not there. So I think we should have better prepared them. And I think we also had to kind of like, comfort her and also try to explain to her that it gets better over time and better mentally prepared her for next few sessions in case if like the auntie does act up again.
Okay.
Wait, sorry, there were volunteers at your project as well?
Oh yeah, we did have volunteers as well.
As in, this auntie was recruiting volunteers from your project?
Oh no, she was like a senior at on like the beneficiary of the project.
Okay, can. Okay, so what is your understanding of our project?
So my understanding of I Remember is that it has like the outreach portion, so there's the like door to door and also the exhibition, and then there's also like the screening part where you get the aunties and uncles to come down for both like a cognitive and like physical screening, and then there's also like a follow-up section where you bring them for referrals and also enroll them like the Healthy Minds project.
Okay. So like based on these like initiatives that we have, do you see any way that we can improve on, or maybe any suggestions that you may have?
I think in terms of like, I know one like as I was looking through like the slides, I saw that you all were trying to make it slightly more like sustainable. Like that was one of the aims I saw. And I think especially like having done my own project, I do realize that those like one-off exhibition type of thing, the impact is not really as great. So I think that like one area that we can all try to work on is maybe like make it, other than just this one big event, we can make it into like smaller ones at like the CCs, but a more like consistent basis. Was something that me and my team did in order to make sure that like the seniors do really know about, in my case was hospice and palliative care.
Okay. Thanks for sharing. Okay, maybe you want to find out like what like how do you tend to go through project I Remember? Like grow as a person.
How to go through. I think like for project I Remember, other than like the leadership skills that we will definitely do grow, I would really love to like work with other like learn how to like improve on teamwork, and also as like the other projects I did was also through like during COVID, so sometimes like some of the things were also like online. So I think that as project I Remember and all the other projects head back to post COVID and in person, I think one way that one like skill I would develop would be like logistics and learning how to plan something that is on a bigger scale, especially for the screenings. And in terms of screenings, there's also like many aspects to it, because you have to think about the logistics and also follow up. And there's like project I Remember is quite a big skill, because you do involve like, I think like for follow up you all do involve like the senior activity centers and all. So I think some skills that also develop would be learning how to professionally email and liaise with other third parties.
Okay. Can. So okay, this is like a scenario question. Okay. So let's say like during PW, then there's someone in your group who's not pulling his weight. Yeah. So how would you go about the issue?
I think the very first thing I would do is I would try to find time to go to that person and like personally ask them, how they've been, how are you feeling? Has everything been alright? Or if I do notice that they've been down recently and not just neglecting PW but neglecting like maybe all aspects of their school life, I'll be like, is everything okay? How are you feeling? And how can I better support you? So I think if there's a root cause, I would try to look and ask them about the root cause and also try to provide them some form of like support. And if there's not really like a root cause, but it's more of like, I don't really care, and I think me and my other PW mates will try our best to remind that person that this is not only affecting him, but he also needs to pull his own weight because it's a group project after all. And I think even then, if he still doesn't really care, I think what I would do is tell him, okay, I minimally expect this of you as a student and as a friend. And if worst case scenario, and he still doesn't do anything, then I think we would have to like bring it up with the teacher.
Okay. Okay, so I think that's it from me. Okay, so from my understanding, you put ops logs first, then MP second. Okay, so Nicole will be asking you the ops logs related questions. Oh,
MP first.
MP first? Oh, you put MP first. Oh,
To confirm with you, your first choice is MP, second choice is ops logs, and then third choice
oh
FU.
sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was looking at the wrong
Yes,
sheet.
you can. Then MP will just start by asking you some questions first. Okay, so to start off, what is your understanding of what MP does?
So I think put it simply, it's just like dealing with people. So in terms of like volunteer management, volunteer training, and yeah, in general, just planning out how to allocate the manpower.
Okay. Then in that case, why do you want to join MP?
I really do enjoy interacting with people, and I feel that teaching is something that I actually do quite enjoy, and something that I've like done previously as like a volunteering thing as well. And I think that manpower is it's something that it's kind of like the skeleton of the whole thing, because as an exco there's only so many of us, and we definitely do need many more volunteers. So it's very important to train them well, so that the project as overall will be a success and the outreach will be more.
Okay. So how do you think your skills and prior experiences, as you mentioned, like working your project, right, can actually value add the MP com?
I think in terms of like managing like a group of people, I think like how I can value add in terms of like manpower is maybe like the planning for like the volunteer training, in terms of like the timeline and how to make it interactive and engaging.
Okay. Do you have any other prior experience with managing large group of volunteers or like manpower in general?
I've not really done like a very very large like manpower, a lot of like volunteers. I would say the previous few projects I've done, the volunteers have been kept to like a maximum of like 20.
Okay. Okay, then in that case, do you have any ideas like in terms of support or welfare for volunteers in that case? As you mentioned, I think volunteers are important to like the event and the project, right? So do you have any ideas in terms of support or welfare that you can give to volunteers?
Support or welfare in terms of like gifts or
Yeah, it can be in terms of emotional or like physical or like buying gifts lah. Yeah. And
in terms of like the more emotional, I think it's very important that especially during the volunteer trainings that we are very like welcoming to them, and make sure that we are accessible to them, especially if like they have any queries or questions. I think it's important that we are approachable and that we seem nice enough that they won't be scared of like asking dumb questions. And in terms of like the more like physical type of support, I think something small like tote bags have always like worked pretty well.
okay. Maybe I think this is more relating to you lah. Can you tell me the most important quality to yourself and why that matters to MP?
I think the most important quality to myself is like trust. In terms of like I must be able to trust other people, and also other people must be able to trust me. I must be someone that is like dependable and responsible, especially when in terms of like leading projects. You have to make sure that you meet deadlines, and also that you are during the meetings you are there. You're there not just present physically but mentally, and willing to contribute. And in that sense, by contributing and also showing that the rest of the community that you care for them, not only in school but also about like their own personal life, I think that's how you can get other people to form friendships and also to trust you.
Okay. So now this is more like a choice-based question lah for you. So between giving perfect work and delivering late, or giving low quality work and delivering on time? So which do you think is more important to you?
Honestly, it really depends because I would rather give perfect work that's late, but I would say the late has a certain extent. Like the late can't be so unreasonable to the point that it's causing other people to be able to like not complete their work, or late to the point that it's just like unreasonable, like a day late. I'm sorry, not a day, a week late. But maybe it's just like you can ask for like extension for maybe like a day or two. But I think there's a certain limit where if you're always late and consistently like pushing your deadlines back, then it also erodes the trust other people have in you.
So in this case, it's basically between quality versus punctuality, right? So what do you think in that case, quality stands out to you more than being punctual?
Wait, sorry.
Because like I'm asking you whether you choose to give perfect work and deliver late and whatsoever, right? So I think you mentioned that you would kind of like still give quality work, right, and kind of like deliver late lah. So why is that the case for you? Why quality over punctuality? Yeah.
I think quality is slightly more important than punctuality because if the thing that you deliver is not of quality, then I guess to me it's kind of like if it's not quality, then it also shows that you did not put in effort.
Okay.
But with quality, it shows that it's late, but at least I've done like sufficient research. I've made sure my work is of a certain standard, and I can be proud of it, and that other people can actually rely on it. Because if it's of like low quality, then kind of, and especially in terms of like working in a team, if it's of poor quality, what if someone else has to do even more work and then do my part and like redo my part? Yeah.
Okay, thanks for the answer. So just the last one, it's a scenario-based question. So you have recruited sufficient volunteers for your upcoming event, but a day before the event, a bunch of volunteers decide to pull out from the event. So what will you do in that case? Let's say you're in the manpower com and you're arranging all the manpower allocations and stuff. Yeah.
So in the case that there's a large pull-out of volunteers, I think I would try to find out like why. Is there a specific reason for it? Is it like schedule, timetable? And I guess kind of like almost beg them to come back. But in this, if like the original group of people are unable to come back and unable to make it, then I think I would do my best to quickly publicize this event to other M1s or other people who might be available to come down and help. And also I'll make sure that before they come down and before the event itself, I'll give them like a crash course of exactly like the minimum they need to remember and minimum they need to do and know about the project in order for it to still run smoothly.
Okay. Ken, thanks for your answers. I think that's all from MP side. Then I'll be passing on the time to Nicole. Yeah.
Okay, hi. So firstly I want to ask you, what is your understanding of ops and logs, and like why would you want to join ops and logs?
My understanding of ops and logs is that they do a lot of like planning and do like gather the logistics in terms of like the number of seniors coming down and also in terms of like licensing. And I think like ops and logs, they also work quite closely with like follow up, right, in terms of licensing with like the referrals, and also with like I think like they said like liaise also with like the senior centers and all. Yeah.
Okay, so just to clarify, ops and logs, yeah, we do a lot of like I would say gathering the logistics, and we're also going to be in charge of like planning the exhibition, including the booths. And then of course we have to reach out for sponsorships and for the screening, gather the logs, and also for Healthy Minds. So why would you want to join ops and logs?
I think my main reason for like wanting to join ops and logs is I think I'm quite excited because I never really joined a project on like such a large scale before, and I've never tried or never had the opportunity to interact with like sponsors or like other brands, and like I think that would be quite a new experience for me, and I would like to also I think it's like quite a rare opportunity to learn how to really like your professional etiquette and how to reach out to such people. So I think the main thing that draws me to Ops and Log is the new experience.
Okay. So can you name 2 qualities that you have that you believe will make you a good ops member?
I think the first quality would be responsible. I'm someone that is, like I would say, is quite dependable, and I can be entrusted with to do things, and especially for like Ops and Logs and running such a like large scale event, I think it's very important that we like Ops and Logs is what makes sure everything's like running smoothly. So I think it's very important that that we have everything planned out well. And the second quality I would say is that I feel like for Ops and Logs there will be a lot of like discussion, especially within the team, on how we want like the exhibition to be run. And I would say I'm pretty good at like facilitating discussion and ensuring that everyone is able to voice their opinion, but at the same time we're able to work towards our common goal and make sure that this discussion is still like fruitful.
Okay, so mentioning the exhibition, right? Do you have any ideas for like exhibition booths?
In terms of exhibition booth, I was thinking something along the lines like there will be those boards with the information. But I think I'm also thinking of like, I've not really thought into detail, but I definitely think that we should have like some games, and maybe it will be like quite fun if we have some of those like olden day games that we can bring down there, so it's something more relatable for the seniors.
Okay. Now I'll give you a scenario-based question. So basically this is like at a screening, and you are supposed to give out like goodie bags to each participant. So one of the elderly, like in section 1, she takes like 5 goodie bags. So like how would you react in such a situation?
So I'll be like, oh auntie, the goodie bag, right? Actually, only supposed to be one person take one. Why do you need so many? Why do you take so many for? Then maybe like depending on her like response, I would then answer accordingly. So maybe if you're like, oh, I'm taking for my friends, then I'll be like, oh auntie, how many like friends? Or why are they not here? You never tell them car or something like that. Or you want that? You tell them car, I'll pass it to them like personally. Maybe that's what I would say. Yeah.
Okay, and let's say the event is like the elderly like starts getting a bit emotional and tells you that perhaps she really needs more of like a certain food product in the bag because she doesn't have enough food at home. Do you think how will your response be like in such a scenario? Will it change? Or
I think in such a scenario, the first thing I'll do is like comfort her and try to like pass a tissue and like maybe find her somewhere to like sit down and rest a bit. And like I think my first response would be make sure she's emotionally okay and like help her to settle down a bit first, like to cool down. And afterwards, if she needs a listening ear, I would like happily listen to her and just talk to her for a bit. And I think I would maybe like try to see if there's anything that can be done to help her. And maybe like at her CC there's like some support programs, and maybe I'll look into it and try ask someone from maybe CC to like come down and maybe like talk to her and see whether we can offer some financial support or like food service support for her.
okay, thank you for that. So the last question I have is actually, can you drive? But just one person, so it doesn't matter if you cannot. Yeah.
I'm learning like I don't think I'll be able to learn by November. But yeah.
But do you think do you have access to a car like after you finish like learning?
Yeah, I do.
So you would be able to use it during weekdays as well? Like
Weekdays?
theoretically.
If I pass.
If
If I pass,
you
yeah.
pass, okay,
If I
okay. Yeah, so that's all for
Okay. Okay, can now we'll be moving on to a role play section. Okay, so it's like Kaiwen here, he'll be acting as an elderly. Okay, then you'll be acting as a volunteer. So the scenario is that this elderly, he's reluctant to participate in like a bingo game at the SAC. So you just communicate with him. Okay, and you're supposed to speak Chinese. Yeah. You're okay, right?
Okay.
Try.
Try.
Okay.
Uncle, 你要玩这个游戏吗？
他们现在要做什么？
哦，现在我们要玩这个游戏，我的朋友会叫一个叫一个号码，那如果你有哪个号码呢，你就圈圈一下。要玩吗？
你朋友是谁？怎样玩这个游戏？
我的朋友在前面，他会叫那个名字那个号码，那如果有4个号码在一个线就赢了，就很好。
哦，我玩 bingo 是吗？
是苹果，对
哦，
对。
这 bingo 不好玩哦，我不要玩，可以玩别的吗？我玩很多次了。
哦，你不喜欢苹果是吗？
哦，我不喜欢 bingo。
哦，要常常一次吗？just
哦，玩
一次
很多次
吧。
了。
一次也不要啊。
不要，完了，玩过。
你真的不要啊？
哦，我真的不要。
哦，那如果你真的不要，那你有别的游戏你也想要玩吗？
游戏不是你跟我讲要玩什么吗？为什么你问我？
哦，因为我们准备的游戏 bingo 你不要玩的，我们可以玩你兴趣的哦。
bingo 之外还有什么游戏呢？
哦，如果你不要玩游戏，我们也可以来唱歌或做什么。
哦，唱
什么
K
事
啊。
唱 K。
哦
对，
你可以跟我一起唱吗？
哦，可以，哪一个歌？
朋友哦。哦，你不知道朋友啊？哎呦，这些年轻人呐，那什么都不知道的。
我知道我们踢。
哦，我们踢。哦，但是还有没有游戏可以玩？
我可以检查一下，我们有别的游戏可以玩。
哦，那唱 K 咯，我可以唱 K 啊。你
Okay. Okay, thanks so much. Okay, so we'll be moving on to our last segment already. So it'll just be a few closing questions. Okay, so if you are unable to join the top 2 committees which you have indicated preference for, will you still be willing to join another committee instead?
Yeah, I would be willing to join the other I wouldn't mind publicity as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have relevant past experience?
I've designed things, but I've basic canvas knowledge.
Okay. Okay, but you'll be interested lah.
I wouldn't mind, yeah.
Okay.
If you don't need video editing,
Video editing.
Instagram posts.
Video editing, I've done montages.
Okay.
So also basic iMovie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have time to have those videos?
Example?
Yeah, your past projects.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Then maybe you can send it to me later after that. Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Can. Okay.
Sick.
Can. Hold on. Okay. So the other projects that you're applying for is just Project We, right?
Yeah.
Are you applying for any OSIT?
Oh, is it? I don't think so,
You
yeah.
don't think so?
Are you in hall?
No.
Oh, okay.
So if Project V offers you also, will you be able to juggle both? I remember at Project V.
I think, yeah.
Can,
yeah.
Okay, can. Okay, so a question is that we have our GM one, a first general meeting on the 29th of August, which is next Monday, 7 to 10. Will you be able to make it if you got accepted to? I remember.
Yeah, we'll be able to make it.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so for the memories, right, can you please act out your spirit animal?
Okay.
It's for the laws, it's for the laws.
Yeah, that will take a picture.
Yeah,
Yes.
some guy literally did a frog just now.
Frog.
Yeah, pig also.
Okay, wait.
Maybe it's a short video, it's not a picture.
Oh,
Oh, a video.
okay.
Yes.
Okay.
You okay, right?
Yeah, when you let us know.
Are you ready? Don't tell us what animal, then we just guess.
Yeah, try to
No,
guess.
but the animal, I don't know if it's guessable.
Okay, no, we just guess.
Okay, ready?
Wait.
Oh, okay.
Wait.
Wait,
I'll just do a
I think
guess.
can pick up mark also. Yeah, for this.
No, animal doesn't really make sounds though.
No, you
No,
need
it
to use your
doesn't do
face.
anything. Wait, it doesn't do anything.
Okay, no, I just do the video.
Okay, can.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, 3, 2, 1, start.
Koala.
It's
okay.
Polka.
Polka?
Koka.
Koka?
Oh, no,
Oh,
It's- It's the Australian national animal.
Oh.
It looks damn happy.
oh, is it?
It's like it actually should smile. It's a smiling one.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. How do you
It's a
spell?
cute one.
KUO.
Oh.
It's a
Double
KUO.
K, yeah.
KUO.
It's super cute.
Oh yes.
Oh, bro.
Maybe I don't need to like.
I thought it was kangaroos.
Okay, nice.
It
nice.
doesn't do anything though. That's why I was like, I don't know how to make it out. I'm like,
Okay, but it looks really cute.
yeah, it's super cute.
The world's happiest animal.
Yeah, and it's like the baby was like that. I got carried before.
Oh,
It's so cute.
nice.
Okay, then before we end the interview, do you have any questions for us?
My question would be like, how big would like the expo be? For like, would it be bigger this year because it's like in person, or would it be like around the same?
Okay, so usually like last year, our M2 batch was like 16. Yeah, but because we are transitioning back to in real life screening and stuff, so we thought we get more manpower. So we recruited like 5 additional people.
Oh,
Yeah, but your batch currently we are planning to look for 16 people. Yeah. So it's up to your batch in the future years, next year, to decide how many people you want.
That's all.
Alright, okay, thank you.
Thank you for coming down.
Oh wait, last thing. Don't tell anyone about the questions.
Can.
Can
Yeah,
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alright, thanks.